My name is Daniel Mercer, and for 8 years, I believed marriage meant loyalty, patience, and endurance, while my wife Claire believed it meant leverage. I worked as a senior project manager at a consulting firm, and my boss, Victor Lang, loved one thing about me more than my work ethic. I was easy to send away. Emergency projects, remote assignments, last-minute travel, and Claire never objected. She smiled when my suitcase came out, because while I worked, Victor stayed. The night everything ended, I came home early. The project finished 2 days ahead of schedule, and I didn't tell anyone because I wanted to surprise my wife. The front door was unlocked, unfamiliar music played softly, and when I stepped inside, I stopped cold. Victor Lang was in my living room without his jacket, his tie hanging loose, his shirt unbuttoned just enough to make it clear he didn't belong there, and Claire stood close to him, far too close. She didn't scream or panic. She sighed and crossed her arms. "Well," she said, "this is awkward." Victor straightened slowly, completely unashamed, and greeted me like we'd run into each other at work. Claire laughed and said I was never around, that I was boring, predictable, always working, and that Victor actually lived. Victor smiled, rested his hand at her waist without hesitation, and said she deserved more. And so did he. They didn't apologize. They explained. Claire told me Victor bought her jewelry, took her places I couldn't afford, gave her a lifestyle I never would, and that men like me were good for stability, for payments, for reliability, not passion. A week later, she rushed the divorce, already planning a future where Victor replaced me completely. What neither of them realized was that while Victor sent me away, he'd been careless. Late-night approvals, fake vendors, shell companies, money routed where it didn't belong. I had been copying files for months. When I moved out, I checked into a roadside motel, didn't sleep, and spent the night organizing emails, transfers, and accounting trails until everything was airtight. At sunrise, I sent one message to the CEO and legal. By noon, Victor Lang was terminated. By evening, the investigation was public. By night, he was gone. Claire came to the motel 2 days later without confidence, without jewelry, without Victor, shaking as she told me he'd lied, used her, and that she'd made a mistake. She said we could fix this, that she didn't know I was capable of this. I looked at her and felt nothing familiar. I told her she was right. I was boring, then signed the divorce papers and added that I just wasn't blind. She reached for me. I stepped back. Some people mistake silence for weakness, and some confuse patience with permission. I walked out alone, and for the first time in years, I wasn't unavailable. I was done.